Hello. Okay, so let's get into some ingredients, my friends. Let's see what we can cook up today, my friends. Let's get cooking, shall we? What are we going to discuss this afternoon? Well, today, the zodiac and the directions, and the ingredients from them. What does this mean? That means from the north, in certain situations, it represents the earth. It represents the cold, the frozen north, right? If you're in the northern hemisphere. If you're in the southern hemisphere, the south represents earth. It represents cold. The cardinal position is Virgo. The fixed position is Capricorn. And the mutable position is Taurus. The herbal ingredients are patchouli. I use Mimosa pudica. I use sandalwood, and I use orris for this. For the east, the air is dry, right? Depending on if you're on one side of the world, it's west. Wherever the dry air comes from, wherever the desert air blows from, right? Like I'm on the west coast of the US, the east blows across the desert and the plains. So yeah, over here, eastern air is dry. If you're on the eastern side, that could be the west. It depends on your location in relationship to the ingredients and in the relationship to where you are on the planet, where the greatest source of that comes from. If you're on this side of the Sahara, we are west. If you are east of the Sahara, it's east. So in this case, depending on which side of the world you're on, the cardinal direction is Libra. Its fixed state is Aquarius. Its mutable state is Gemini. The ingredients used are lavender, Mimosa pudica, blessed thistle, sandalwood, and orris. South is fire. It's hot. It's the equator, right? We're in the northern hemisphere. If you're in the southern hemisphere, it's north. It's hot, right? We're positioning our magic based on the greatest forces of those things on this planet. So I use hibiscus, mimosa, orris, sandalwood, and blessed thistle to be able to connect the cardinal of Aries, the fixed of Leo, and the mutable of Scorpio. West is the ocean. I'm in California. West to me is the ocean. If you're in the East Coast, it's east. Right? Depends on where your placement is in relationship to the nearest ocean. Cardinal direction is Cancer. Fixed is Sagittarius. The mutable is Pisces. I use blue lotus, sandalwood, blessed thistle, and mimosa for that. Okay? Now, we're talking planets, okay? I've been going off on planetary interactions for weeks. Aries is the yang aspect of Mars. Its ingredient is dragon's blood. Scorpio is the yin aspect of Mars. Its ingredient is opoponax. Great little resin that you can get. Venus, its yang state, the active agent of the life energy, is Taurus. Its ingredient, cassia. Libra is the yin state. Galbanum is the ingredient that I use. Mercury. Gemini is the yang state. Its ingredient, onycha. Onycha. Great stuff. Comes out of an oyster. Or it comes out of shellfish in the Middle East. Virgo is the yin state. It's sandalwood. Saturn, it's Capricorn for the yin state. Right? It's colophony. It's pine resin. Right? Or sorry, Capricorn's the yang state. Aquarius is the yin state. Galbanum is its ingredient. Jupiter, Sagittarius is the yang of Jupiter. Right? Saffron is its ingredient. Pisces is the yin of Jupiter. Its ingredient is storax. And then for the moon, we have Cancer. Again, it's onycha. It's harvested from a sea critter, right? So ingredients of the sea, things that are seaweeds, kelps, lichens, mosses, things that grow because of the relationship to the environment that they're in. Sun, it's Leo, it's frankincense, it's yang energy, right? So when you're connecting your ingredients and you're connecting those forces into your work, to be able to pull on the nuance of not only planetary relationships of the ingredients, but to be able to pull upon the astrological applications of them also is a very important stage, right? So for the earth, I use horehound as the yang ingredient for the element. It's feminine, vervain. For the yang action of the air, I use mistletoe. It's yin, yarrow. For fire, yang aspect of fire, I use cedar. For its feminine, I use rose. Chamomile is what I use for the yang action of water, where its feminine is the dittany of Crete. The yang ingredient I use for the sun is cinnamon. It's yin, sandalwood. For the moon, its yang ingredient is myrrh. It's yin, orris. For Mars, its yang, its active energy, is dragon's blood. Its yin is orchid. Mercury, its yang ingredient I use is lavender. Its yin, valerian. Smells like dirty socks, by the way. Really potent stuff if you get the fresh stuff. All right, golden seal is for Venus. It's the yang ingredient of Venus. Dittany of Crete, feminine of Venus. Okay? There's a pattern between the feminine and the water, right? Y'all ladies with your flow. Mullein is the yang aspect of Saturn. Yew is the yin ingredient. Now, yews are a toxic tree, so make sure you have gloves if you to handle that. All right? And don't grind it down or do anything that's going to burn it where you can inhale that shit, because it can cause a heart attack. So be careful with that stuff. Juniper is the yang ingredient I use for Jupiter. Okay? The yin ingredient I use is henbane. All right? That's another one of those no-no herbs. Be very careful if you fuck with that stuff, guys. Be very careful. So, with that, not only can you pull the Mars, the planetary, the astrological, the elemental nature of all things. So if you include these elemental energies into your work with these specific ingredients, knowing that there's a masculine property of projection or a receptive property where it pulls that capacity down into what you're doing, then you have the means by which you can cause deeper manifestations. You can create different layers in your spellcraft. So you can create an extract of the masculine fiery nature of Aries using the planetary associations, right? So you can compound different things in different orders so that all you have to do is put a drop of that in, and you know that it's going to be the elemental association of what is Mars as fire, as Mars of earth, Mars of water, Mars of air, right? It is the Aries of earth, the Aries of fire, the Aries of water, the Aries of air. All under the subcategory of Mars. For Taurus or Venus, right? You do the same. So that way you have an established period of flow to and from and on. How that energy moves in the triangle. As it moves from the Earth to the planet, under the stars, back to the planet. So that you create that loop. You create that environmental manipulation so that way what you bring into your ritual work are the direct lines of energy. You don't have to worry about what the fuck you're doing. You can pull the very specific threads of power into what you do through tinctures. You can do it through the application of this stuff with one drop. One drop. That's all you have to do. Oh, look, the camera decided to have some life of its own. So, I will leave you with that for this now, my friends, and I will be nerding out in another couple of videos. But that's the ingredient list. That's your deep connections to the application of, like, at least what I use in my work to create, like, these alchemical vessels, right? So these allow me to pull the astrological forces into my work. Inside they have the script written in the ink made by these ingredients. Inside they have crystals, stones, metals, animal components related to those sacred animals, each one represented by the zodiac, right? So using those in your work, you don't have to worry about, oh, I'm not in the right time, oh, I'm not on the right side of the planet. Well, with this, you can understand that your planetary position is in relation to the elemental nature and the behavior closest to you when you're pulling the elemental flows in the directions. When you're working with the planets and you're working with time, you're working with behavior and personality and environmental conditions. So the astrological application of this is, how does the thing behave under the planetary environment, under the elemental environment, so that way you get that very specific type of manifestation. So that way nothing is left to chance. And you can actually structure your spells on purpose. You can build them and design them and then add on top of it. Then you can get into the nuance, like what was discussed yesterday in the work with friends, right? Do I always stick to the strict ingredient list? No, it doesn't always work to stick to the strict ingredient list. There is nuance, there is development, there is opportunity for creation. But if you understand the foundation, then you can modify that foundation. Then you can go and you can pull from the past, or you can entrain the future, right? So as you join me, as we go deeper into this sort of nuanced bits of sorcery, it is witchcraft. At the end of the day, this is the relationship to the earth, to the natural forces, to the stones, to the trees, to the animals, and our connections to it. But it doesn't just stop with this one planet. It is the entire creation we are pulling in our work. It is the stars above us. It is the moons. It is the planets. It is the galaxies that we can't even name. It's all the potential life of creation that we get to funnel into our work and bring out the phantasmagoria of whatever we can connect to in our dreamscape as we bring our dreams to life, as we bring our reality to the world. So that way what we do and how we do it to serve our people is best accomplished by knowing the science and the nuance behind what we get up to. So, I hope you enjoy, my friends. Apply this well, and don't be evil. Alrighty.